Welcome to the show.
And welcome back to another episode of the Astros Future podcast here on the Believe Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Price, also known as Astros Future. You can find my work at astrosfuture.com. Find me on X at Astros Future.
I'm your co-host, Kenny Van Doren.
So today, me and Kenny kind of talked about doing something a little different, something we've seen on some social media. And what we did is we created a spinner, and it's going to give us one of the four minor league teams, so Sugar Land, Corpus Christi, Asheville, or Fayetteville. And we're going to build our starting nine. We won't go 1 through 9. We're going to just do strictly based on positions. But when that spinner lands on that specific team, we'll choose a player off that team. So interesting choice we got going here. Kenny, I guess I'll go first. So
I was going to say,
for the audio, we'll say who it's going to be, but for the video, they can see it. But yeah, I'll go first.
I was going to say I was hoping you would go first. I was very worried if I get 1-1 and I just get a position or a team I'm just worried about.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to spin it.
All right.
Oh man.
So the hooks. All right. First team is the hook. So basically how this goes, I'm going to choose it could be a pitcher, but catcher all the way down to starting pitcher, someone off the hooks that I want to add to my lineup. So let's see. Could go a bunch of different ways, but I think I'm going to go Jason Schiavone. I kind of talked about that as one of our sample ones. But I think he's up to 22, 23 homers now. And when we make our picks, we'll give a little bit of stats behind it. What I've been very impressed with, honestly, is his strikeout percentage has gone down. And we knew the strikeouts were a little bit of an issue. I think he was at 31% in Nashville, but he's down to, I think, about like 26%. Still hitting like 270, 280, OPS over 900, showing some power. So really good to see from him. And obviously, good athlete, good behind the plate. But yeah, and I'm very pleased to get him at the catcher position.
We sometimes see some guys don't transition as quickly from Asheville to Corpus Christi and getting into that Texas league where strike zone gets a little bit tighter. A lot of these pitchers are more accurate. His WRC plus is 148 through 23 games so far at AA. I mean, it's been like he's almost like he's mirroring the same production as well. His walk rates dropped a little bit. Like you mentioned, the K rate's still kind of in that same area, but production-wise, offensively and power, I mean, he just tapped right back into it. I think first at bat, and we talked about this one of the recent shows, first or second at bat, he homered with Corpus Christi, and that's a hard park to hit homers in. And he's just kind of picking up where he left off. And you've got him ranked right now, Jimmy. I'm sure a lot of other people will start to have him ranked by the mid-year update.
Definitely.
All right,
you're up.
My turn.
What do you get?
Okay, we're going Fayetteville.
Oh.
This is a tough one because there are some guys. I thought I was kind of hoping I'd get Asheville first. I could just do a layup and take Noah Ochoa, especially just with the hot streak he's been on. A lot of different ways we could go, and I even asked you coming into this, Jimmy, is if are we going to take guys solely on production? Or are we going to take some guys based on what they've already accomplished? I'm going to go like a production / potential one right here and just take Kevin Alvarez. I think this is the best way to just get one of those outfield spots picked out. And I'll put him in center, 18 years old right now. He's played through 46 games already. He's almost eclipsed his career high in professional games. Jimmy, I don't know if you've seen that already. So 47 games last year in the Dominican Summer League. And he's got 46 so far this year. WRC plus has dropped a little bit. He's below 100, so he's a little bit below average. But he's had his ebbs and flows so far in his first year stateside, and it's one of those cases too where I think we didn't really want to see the Astros rush him too much and kind of just let him find his footing. But already has 3 more homers than he did last year, so definitely tapping into a little bit more power. He has 11 doubles, 2 triples. Stolen bases are down just a tiny bit. He's got 4 through almost a similar sample size. So he's still showing a lot of those tools, and I'm sure we might see him in Asheville at some point later in the year.
Yeah, it's 18 years old. So I know we talked about it, me and Kenny here, about some of the international guys that have had some really good numbers in the DSL or maybe in the FCL, and they come over to Fayetteville and they really struggle. So I know we didn't want to see that from Alvarez, and obviously he's doing pretty well, hitting 251. The thing that has not hurt him at all this year is like his bat to ball skills are good. He doesn't strike out a ton. He hits the ball a lot. So solid start for him. That's a good pick to go with your first one in the outfield. So, all right, I'm at Schiavone. You're at Alvarez. Let's see what the next one is. Here we go. Spinning. And Sugarland. All right. Kenny, are we doing relief? Are we doing relief prospects?
If you want to make that your pitcher, I mean, go ahead and take an opener
All right.
if you'd like.
I'm gonna, yeah. I mean, I still like the idea of doing starters, but I'm really looking at this roster. Like, we know who's on the roster. It's prospects that, um, most of it, you got a Zach Cole or a Shea Whitcomb, those kind of guys. Colin Price. Well, I know he's up right now, but Kevin Biggio, some guys that are in their mid to late 20s and have kind of been around a little bit. But the more I think about it, I think I don't need a relief pitcher for this one. I'll use my starter in this spot. I'm going Ethan Pecco. It had a little injuries to start the year. Went did some rehab stuff. Was dominant in Fayetteville. Got up to Sugarland. Had a couple up and down outings where it's like he was struggling to get past hitters and ended up only throwing like 1 or 2 innings because of that. But his most recent outing was his best one. 7 innings, allowed 2 hits, no runs, struck out 4. The fastball's in the 95, 96 range. I still think he has what it takes to be a good quality starter at the major league level. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with that pick as my starter.
Yeah, I think that's the best route you can take. I was wondering if you would stick to that reliever route and just take Miguel Uola, but
That's what I was thinking if we
yeah,
drafted relievers. So
that's a good pick though. Moving on to my next one. Okay, I got the Fayetteville Woodpeckers
come
again.
on.
I think this is the best case for me is just taking another outfielder and someone that's been on the show. And I want you to throw out those stats you texted me the other day, Jimmy, once you have them, because I know you already know I'm going to take. And that's Anthony Hueso. So I'm going to put him in the outfield as well next to Alvarez. So far this season, we talked about it with him that he finally gets his opportunity to play an entire season in one spot, or at least start the season there. He's through 53 games this year. Last year in 2025, he played a total of 67 games. So definitely on track for beating that in the next 2 or 3 weeks now, once you get to July. 134 WRC plus this season for Fayetteville. We saw him dip a little bit just in the offensive production, and then he came on the show and he's been on a tear. He's up to 10 home runs right now. He leads Fayetteville with that. 4 triples, 17 doubles. He's a extra base hit machine right now. And Jimmy, do you have those numbers?
I do. So this was Saturday when I had texted you, and it's the last 10 games, and we didn't realize it. And Kenny pointed out that was the 10 games since he's been on the podcast. 405, 6 doubles, 3 homers, 10 RBIs, 8 walks to 6 strikeouts, 6 stolen bases. And then Sunday he went 2 for 5 with 2 doubles. So it's pretty impressive to see someone who's leading the system in doubles and triples. He's got 17 doubles, 4 triples, the 10 homers you mentioned. Yeah, man, just phenomenal work from him so far. I mean, I know he strikes out a little bit, but like he's got 24 stolen bases, ton of extra base hits. Really good season for him. So yeah, great pick there for sure.
My last thing I'll mention there is this is probably our best opportunity to mention it is that Brandon Van Horn, who we talked about on one of the recent episodes too. He accepted the hitting coach position for Mizzou baseball, which had an opening. So he's headed to the SEC. We know he had some impact on Anthony Hueso as well.
Yep, for sure.
All right. Next up on the spinner.
Next one. Here we go.
All right. Sugarland again.
All right. Well, then we're going relief. I'm going Miguel Ulola. Just recently made that transition to relief. And I think I tweeted he's had 7 outings since he's kind of gone into the short inning relief one, and he's gone scoreless in 6 of them. The fastball's playing a little bit better, 97, 98 now, getting a little bit more swings and misses. The walks are still there a little bit, but they're not as big of a concern if you have 1 inning and you might walk 1 and you get out of it scoreless. So, it's unfortunate you got to make that move to the pen. I think I remember texting you like 3 years ago about like, hey, they should just make Ulola a reliever, and here we are. And I think it's going to be successful for him. So happy to see him having success there. But I'll go that with my relief pitcher. So I got my starters: Ethan Pecco, reliever Miguel Ulola.
We've seen that before. Some guys took a little bit longer, and the Astros kind of delayed it. Mesiel Tamara's one comes to mind, but Alimber Santa moved to the bullpen. He found success, and it's Miguel Uola's turn to try to replicate that. All right, back to the spinner.
If you get the Woodpeckers again, okay, you didn't.
All right, I got the hooks. This kind of puts me in a tight spot. I'm going to pull up some of these stats too and just make sure I get the best option for myself. Okay, this isn't even showing me everyone from the hooks. I wanted Jason Schiavone here. What would you say? Where do you think I should go with this?
I mean, my initial thought was probably leaning towards infield, or
there's one guy.
I'm sorry. Well, there's actually. I'm sorry. I was actually going to say outfield. Man, I'd probably be using my starter here.
All right. We were just talking about Mizzou. I know he's not had the same season as last year, but I will take Bryce Mayer here. I just think overall production wise, I know it's kind of he's had some up and down starts, but he's also really stacked up those strikeouts and responded well from kind of an off balance start at the beginning of the year, and it's hard not to go with him when he's probably right behind Pecco in the pecking order, no pun intended. I guess pun was intended. To be one of those guys that can contribute to the Astros sooner than later.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
All right, back to the spinner.
All right, back to the spinner. Here we go. If I get Sugarland 3 times in a row. All right, nope. Woodpeckers. Sweet. Okay. So at this point, I have everything but catcher and starting pitcher and relief pitcher open. So first, second, third, short, outfield. You've already taken Kevin Alvarez. You've already taken Anthony Huezo, who's been probably the best producer in that lineup. So I'll go with the Astros, either number 1, number 2 prospect, depending on where you're looking at, Xavier Nyans, and throw him at third base. It's, man, I watch the games. I watch the Woodpeckers even closer than maybe some of the other teams, just with the guys they got on there. The amount of walks the guy takes is just, it's insane. I think he's up to, let's see, I got the stats pulled up right here. He's up to 48 walks in 49 games. It's incredible. And I'm going to, when I go to Fayetteville on Wednesday, I'm going to talk with him about it. And my hope is I want to find out, I just think about that. It's gotta be hard to sit there and just take walks. He got paid a big signing bonus based on the power potential he has. He's drawn 48 walks in 49 games. And I love the fact that he's patient, and eventually they'll probably start swinging more when he sees more strikes, but just incredible approach at the plate, big time power. OPS, I think, is still hovering right around 800. So not a bad start to his professional career.
Yeah. If only the FCL was on here as well, and you could take Jace Mitchell and slot him somewhere else.
That's right.
Back to the spinner, and I get
a good one.
I get Asheville here.
Yeah.
Are you okay if I put Neomar Ochoa at first, or should I stick?
Oh, yeah, no, definitely good with that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Neomar Ochoa here. I thought there might be some growing pains just finally moving up to high A into the Carolina League, even though it is very hitter friendly, and he does hit from the right side and not the left side. But altogether, it's been a great year for Neomar Ochoa. I think just the response that he's had, and it's interesting to see once he finally got the promotion too, is 162 career games in the Carolina League with Fayetteville over the last couple of years. So altogether, it's been a great opportunity for him to stay healthy and climb the rankings or climb the levels of the system.
Yeah, no, really good to see. Yeah, he's taken to that promotion really well in Asheville. All right, next on the spinner. And I will land on Fayetteville again. All right, let's see. This is where it probably gets a little bit interesting with what I got open. Let me take a look at the roster again. I kind of feel like that's cheating, instead of going just off the top of the head, but that's all right. So Huezo, Alvarez, and Nyan's already gone. I'll go with Josh Wakefield. I think he's on the injured list right now. But he had a nice start to the season, hitting 255. He's got 3 homers, but steals a ton of bases. He was up to 27 stolen bases in 42 games. Doesn't strike out too much. Walks are pretty good on base percentage. So yeah, Josh Wakefield, and I'll just pencil him in at center field right now. We'll see if that could end up moving around. But yeah, Josh Wakefield will be my pick here.
I don't think it's cheating to look at the stats too. I mean, there were some guys I thought maybe having a little bit better year, but it's good to get that reference. Back to the spinner. I get Corpus Christi again. This kind of puts me in a spot where I have my pitcher taken. I got all my infield spots right now. Guy like Trevor Austin gives me a lot of flexibility. I was thinking about Yamal Encarnacion after recent conversations, Jimmy, just because I could plug him pretty much anywhere and just keep him there. But I think I'm going to roll with Trevor Austin here, another former Mizzou guy, UDFA. His slug is up to 518 through 56 games at AA this year. He did play in 80 games last year for the Hooks. That's a 142 WRC plus. He has 11 homers, 13 doubles. I mean, he's hitting really well in the Texas League right now. And I like the 34 walks to 55 strikeouts. He's definitely turned a corner as well. He had a 2-homer game last month. I think he's just putting it all together and just kind of, chipping away as another UDFA in the system. Position-wise, I guess I'll just plug him at third for right now. I think that's maybe the best spot just for him. Or I know this year he's DH'd a little bit, but mainly third base is probably where I'd like to keep him.
Yeah, really, really cool to see him having that breakout year, especially after some of the little bit of struggles he had last year when he got to Double A. So yeah, really, really good year for him so far. All right, back to the spinner and the hooks. All right, couple different ways we can go here. Boy, man, I look at the roster and I'm like, yeah, I could choose one at every position. I'd be content with. If you're looking at first, second, short, left, and right is what I would have open. Good outfielders, Sullivan, Spence, but I'll go with someone who I've been talking about a lot. I think defense is important. If he's, he steals bases, he gets on base. I'm going Max Holy at shortstop. Man, I like that pick. When I'm looking at my roster here with Jason Schiavone, Xavier Nyans, Max Holy, I like where it's going. So yeah, I'm going Max Holy. Really good year. Another undrafted guy, that's made it up to Double A, and we've seen his defense on display, having some really good diving plays as well. But yeah, good year making it up to Double A. Good numbers overall. I'd have to go back to look at the exact totals, but I know his stolen base numbers are pretty good this year. Yeah, he's up to 28 right now. So hitting 730 OPS between high A and Double A, 10 doubles, 3 homers, 28 stolen bases, which is second in the Astros system this year.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd slip a little bit. Something about those Midwestern UDFAs right now. They're doing well for the Astros. All right, I get Sugarland for the first time. Yeah, this is one of those where Limber Santa's back. He's still in the big leagues, right?
He was optioned today. So
he was optioned today?
Yeah, I think he was optioned, and Jaden Murray was called up.
All right, then I think that's easy for me. I'll take a Limber Santa here. Just a perfect example of the Astros moving a guy to the bullpen at the right time, even though there was a lot of promise as a starter. It really paid out. I mean, who can say that they pitched, they made their debut in a no-hitter and then closed out a no-hitter?
Yeah, exactly. That's been it's the move has worked out well for him and for the Astros. All right, next one. Here we go. And my next one is going to be off the hooks again. All right. So once again, a couple different ways we can go here. I'm going to take a look at some stats before I make my. I know that I'm between 3 players, but I want to look at some numbers. And I know they've kind of picked it up. The Hooks had a ridiculous offensive week, by the way. I can't wait to do my hot list. But I think over the last 3 games, they scored like 17, 15, and 12. So really good offensive numbers. I'm gonna go with Joseph Sullivan. And I know he got off to a little bit of a slower start, but he still got 11 homers, 14 stolen bases, a 778 OPS, which for individuals that have played 20 plus games with the Hooks is third on the team as well. So 11 homers, 29 RBIs, 14 stolen bases. Looking at the numbers here, I could have put him at first base if I wanted to, but Drew Britcher was another option who's been like one of the hottest hitters I've ever seen in a long time. Had some really good numbers. But yeah, I'll go Joseph Sullivan, and I'm just going to throw him in left field right now.
It is a little, different for me to look at those stats compared to Trevor Austin and Lucas Spence, and he's down in walks compared to Trevor Austin, and he has less hit by pitches compared to Luke Spence, who's already up to 10 this year, which is a little bit surprising. It's like they switched bodies.
Yeah.
All right, back to the spinner.
All right.
All right. Thank you. All right, Sugarland. I have to go with a position player here. Can I go with a guy that's in the big leagues right now just because he did play the majority of the year in Sugarland?
Yeah, who are you thinking?
I think I'm just going to take Colin Price. I think this is an easy opportunity for me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, easy opportunity for me to check off that catching spot. If you told me like 2 or 3 years ago that Colin Price would have debuted by now, I'd be a little bit skeptical just because he had some ups and downs. He had some like fluke injuries too, where he hit a ball off of his shin and broke part of his leg. But he made it pretty far, and for a guy his size too, you just don't see that happen very often. And but he stuck around in big league camp a little bit longer the last couple of years, and finally got that call to the big leagues.
Yeah, no, it's really cool to see him, make that rise because, like you said, it's some of the numbers 2 years ago. I don't know if you would have known he made it. Now he's up there, so really cool to see from Colin. All right, next spin. Here we go. Woodpeckers. All right, couple different ways we can go here. Let's go look at some numbers. Walker Yannick played a game on a rehab. Does that count? No, I'm kidding. I'm not taking him.
He made the MLB Pipeline Team of the Week from just like pure rehab outings.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you saw that. Yeah.
Wow. if I was looking at, and I really wish we could have seen more of Nick Monasterio early in the, he had that injury. I don't know what the injury was, but I think he's on the 60-day IL now. But his numbers early on, like through 25 games, 805 OPS, 15 stolen bases, 6 doubles, 2 triples, a homer. Strikeouts were solid, good walks, but I won't go with him because he's been injured for a while now. But looking at my outfield, I'll go with Juan Sierra. And I don't. I'd have to look to see if he's on the injured list. I know it's been like maybe a week since he played, but 20-year-old in Nashville. Probably don't know a lot about him. I think he signed for $75,000, but had some good numbers last year. And so far this year in 37 games, 754 OPS, 7 doubles, 6 homers, 22 RBIs, hitting 246. Pretty good numbers. Kind of has that probably that prototypical right field build, but that kind of rounds up my outfield. So I got Joseph Sullivan, Josh Wakefield, and Juan Sierra in the outfield.
Yeah, he's on the 7-day now. I just remember when Juan Sierra was signed, everyone just raved about his batting stance. It just looks like a power hitter from the right side. Even when he was, 18, 17 years old, he just had that look and kind of the moxie to be a right-handed power hitter. All right, back to the spinner.
Right. Here we go.
Okay. I feel like Fayetteville's going to there's not going to be anyone left if we keep doing this. Going down to the Carolina League stats. I have to stick with a position player. Looking at my roster right now, I have second base, shortstop, and left field open. You took Josh Wakefield, right? Early on as one of your outfielders. Among the qualified hitters, there's not many other guys to choose from. I think I might go pure like defensive upside here and just take a guy that I've spoken to before, but I know he doesn't have the best offensive output right now, and he really hasn't most of his career. But I'll take Germán Ramirez just as like a pure glove first guy. I'm going to stick him at shortstop for now just because he does have that defensive upside. If someone comes into the equation that I don't know about or I'm thinking about, maybe I'll move him to second base.
That sounds good. And I'm really disappointed. I don't think I've gotten Asheville yet. I think you got him one time and that was it. All right, let's see if I get him here and all my outfield spots are taken. Shocker. Shocker. There's Asheville. All right, so they've had a pretty solid outfield, and it's unfortunate that I'm not going to be able to choose someone from their outfield, but at least I can give a shout out to the ones that are doing well. Justin Thomas has been awesome. 11th round pick last year, 12 doubles, 9 homers, 43 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, OPS of 952. Caden Powell in the outfield, 8 homers, 30 RBIs, hitting 306. Came out from that injury last year, and he's been great. So really cool to see those two guys. I was kind of holding out hope. I probably should have saved an outfield spot to try to get one of those guys. Ethan Fry on the injured list. I don't think he's actually officially on the injured list, but he's battling through that injury right now. All right, let's see. If I was going to go, I know exactly where I'm going with this. I'll go Kyle Walker at second base. Pretty good season right now. Arizona State draftee last year, 14 doubles, 2 homers. He's got 22 stolen bases. Good walk to strikeout ratio, 27-41, hitting 279. Man, like that's a scrappy infield I got there with Kyle Walker, Max Holley, Xavier Nines over at third, Josh Wakefield in the outfield. A lot of stolen bases. I mean, that's kind of a system-wide theme right now. But yeah, Kyle Walker at second base.
Yeah, I was kind of holding out. The second base one's a tough one, and I was even thinking about putting Max Holley there if I had the opportunity. Great. I got the Woodpeckers again. This is getting out of hand, Jimmy. Can I just take someone who's on the injured list?
Do it.
Can I just take Monasterio here?
Yeah.
Even though he's probably not going to play, if not, maybe the majority of the season, if not for longer. I'm going to take Nick Monasterio here. Like Jimmy mentioned, he is on the 60-day IL, but through those 25 games he played in Fayetteville, his OPS was over 800. He had 11 RBIs, but in the doubles department, he had 6. He had 2 triples. Seemed to be a little bit of a theme for some of those guys through that time. 16 walks to 27 strikeouts. And like Jimmy mentioned, stolen bases. He has 15, so that brings a little bit of speed to the lineup as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
he got injured.
Yeah, unfortunately got injured. I'll put him at second base, though, for my team.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to see what he could do this year. But yeah, no, that's a good pick. All right, this will be my last pick, so I'm going first base whoever I get. Fayetteville, man, I was really hoping for the hooks because we still got Will Bush on the board. I don't know who else, but all right, so Fayetteville, and not that. I mean, I don't have a bunch of options here. Arturo Flores is where I'll go right now. 7 homers, 22 RBIs, only hitting 218, but he's got a 726 OPS. Another young power hitter for Fayetteville, who strikes out a little bit, draws some walks, but 7 homers. Yeah, and that's, I mean, I think we've pretty much got everybody from the Woodpeckers roster at this point. But that rounds out my roster right there, Arturo Flores. But yeah, the other person I was kind of, like I said, Will Bush was on there. If I went to Sugarland, I was thinking Kevin Biggio. I don't know if there's anyone else at Corpus Christi outside of Bush, unless you got creative and put like a Lucas Spence there.
Has Joseph Sullivan played a single game?
I don't know. I don't know if he played. Well, but I already got him in the outfield anyway. So,
Yeah.
All right, Arturo Flores, that rounds out my roster. So you got your last year. What's your pick remaining? What position?
Left field or just outfield.
Okay. That's good. That's good. That outfield. That's
I
a good
know.
position to save. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Asheville.
You mentioned a bunch of guys. I think, it kind of puts myself in a good spot here to, find some sort of power. And I already took the guy I wanted in Naomar Ochoa Jr. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, if we had gotten the Taurus a little bit more, Caden Powell for sure, I think would have come off for one of those infield spots. Justin Thomas is still available, right? You didn't get to take him. Yeah, I'll take Justin Thomas Jr. Like Jimmy mentioned earlier, 11th rounder in the 2025 draft, out of Arkansas. WRC plus this year, 140. I mean, he is just raking as a 22-year-old through 52 games. I'm sure that we might see him in Corpus Christi at some point sooner than later, especially once a lot of draft picks in July start to push some guys up the system. K rate a little bit higher than it was last year, but walk percentage just in that same category. And just all together, I mean, he's putting together a real strong offensive output with 9 homers, 12 doubles, 1 triple to add into there as well. And 44 walks to 78 strikeouts, a little bit of a higher K rate, but still good to see some of those walks on that ledger as well.
Yeah, it would have been disappointing to go through a whole roster building here and not get one of Caden Powell, Justin Thomas, or potentially Ethan Fry. I know he's hurt right now, but all right, Kenny, that rounds out our rosters. Before we end the podcast here, I'm gonna go through with my roster. So catcher Jason Schiavone, first base Arturo Flores, second base Kyle Walker, third base Xavier Nyans, shortstop Max Holy, left field Joseph Sullivan, center field Josh Wakefield, right field Juan Sierra, starting pitcher Ethan Pecco, and then my relief pitcher Miguel Ulola. What you got?
On my team, I have catcher Colin Price, first baseman Naomar Ochoa Jr., second baseman Nick Monaster, third baseman Trevor Austin. My shortstop is Herman Ramirez, left field Justin Thomas Jr., center fielder Kevin Alvarez, right fielder Anthony Hueso. My starting pitcher is Bryce Mayer, and my reliever is Elimber Santa.
All right. I'm very interested to see the feedback on this. I truly want to know who thinks or who they think drafted a better roster, me or Kenny. So we'll get this podcast posted. We'll share our lineups, give a little sneak peek there, and then maybe I'll create a poll and we'll see who has the better roster, because I think that'd be kind of fun. So all right, Kenny, that was good stuff, man. Appreciate you running the spinner there for us.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I'm actually very intrigued to see who people think, and it might come off of like name recognition for some of them, but I think altogether, I think both teams have a lot of weight to it to get some votes. Yeah,
definitely. All right. Well, we'll push the podcast a little bit, and then eventually I'll put a poll up. We'll let people listen to it, hear our reasoning, and then we'll put a poll up maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll see where it goes. So, all right, that's going to do it for today's episode. So if you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. As always, thank you so much for listening. We look forward to having you back for our next episode of the Astros Future podcast, covering your Astros in the minor league system.